call. It's a warning to them.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Marshall, Shortman Filmworks in the building. And we got another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys tonight. All right, we are finally here. Finally made it after 450 million years of trying to get to this video. I have finally made it, and I have finally seen The Batman starring Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. As y'all know, man, I've been trying to do this video. Oh my god, man. I've been trying to do this video, not even just do these videos. I've been trying to go through my whole Batman series ever since this movie was supposed to come out on March 4th. And I started like the week before the movie came out. And as y'all know, I reviewed Batman Returns, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which is Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises, and The Dark Knight. Sorry, I ain't going in order. So now, for 2022, we have a new version of the Batman that has come out this year. And for those of y'all who haven't seen this movie, and this is relatively new, I know in a lot of other videos I kind of dug into the plot lines a little bit more, so it's a lot of spoilers in those videos right there. But this one, I know it's fairly new, and I know there's a lot of people out there that still hasn't seen this movie, so I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it on the surface. and I'm gonna do my best not to throw no spoilers in here. But I am gonna start off by saying that if you haven't seen this movie before, I'm probably gonna slip up with some spoilers. And if I slip up with some spoilers, then forgive me. I apologize. I advise y'all to go out here and go see the movie. Okay, so getting started with the movie. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Well, first and foremost, it was directed by Matt Reeves, and I can say that right now, the way it was told, and it's you pretty much got the you pretty much got the same gist of what's going on in this world of Gotham City. Gotham is always going to be a crime-ridden city that's full of all kinds of criminals, and its own own element, and it's got its own way. Gotham City has its own way, and pretty much and through a lot of these Batman movies, you see that you have that organized crime storyline going on in these movies. This time, not just organized crime, but you got a lot of corruption going on in this movie too. You know what I mean? And it's like that with the other movies. There's a lot of corruption going on with the movie. Same thing going on with the Christopher Nolan trilogy, where Bane trying to shut down the city, and they trying to just get rid of all the corruption and all of the lies and all of the greed and all of the they trying to just purge the entire city. That's what Bane was trying to do in the last movie, along with the League of Shadows. Just purge the whole city, start it all over, and just wipe it out and just start it from scratch. This movie is I don't want to say it's a little different, because it still has that organized crime element in the movie. But for me, what I get different from this movie is the take on Batman. This time around, in the other movies, I put it to you like this. From the Batman movies with the Tim Burton movies with Michael Keaton, I told y'all before that Michael Keaton is always going to be my favorite Batman. He's my favorite Batman to the end of time. And with those movies, you had a certain element with Bruce Wayne. With Bruce Wayne, to me, he was always like that millionaire that kind of downplayed his social status. He was a millionaire, but he downplayed it. You know what I mean? And then when we get to the Christopher Nolan trilogy, Christian Bale played him in a way that was more like he's going to play that millionaire playboy type role, playing the duality of it all. He's one way, and he's one way by day, and he's another way by night. Robert Pattinson but Robert Pattinson plays Batman in a way where, how can I describe the way he plays Batman? He plays Batman in a more of a detective, in a detective sort of sense, because they say Batman is the world's greatest detective, and the play on that detective aspect in this movie, it's in this movie. You know what I mean? So if you haven't seen this yet, first spoiler. So he's more of a detective in this movie. And I like the way it was played out with him being in close cahoots with Jim Gordon. You know what I mean? You know, in the other movies, he's more hidden. He's more hidden. He doesn't come around the cops. He only goes around Jim Gordon. In this movie, he shows up to crime scenes with Jim Gordon. You know what I mean? And as he shows up to the crime scenes, everybody knows he's a vigilante, but at the same time, they know that he's doing something different. They know and this is what I get from it. They know he's doing his job in a way that the cops can't do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like with this movie, I want to say maybe about 2 years go on in this movie. Not 2 years from the Dark Knight trilogy, because this is a brand new world. This is a brand new take, and this is a brand new world on the Batman universe. So I feel like when we start in this movie, and I believe that Bruce Wayne makes a reference of it being him doing what he's doing for like 2 years, or he doing for like a year. So we get a take of him. We coming into it. He's not just starting, not like in Batman Begins. He's in the thick of it, you know, and in the way that it's brought about. He doesn't play on that millionaire status, where he doesn't play on a millionaire status, because he's more like, I'm trying to see how I can describe the way Bruce Wayne is in this movie, because he's more of a recluse. Well, he's a recluse in all these movies. But in this one, he has more of a loner tone to him. You know what I mean? He doesn't play off that millionaire. He doesn't play off that millionaire shit. He's more like, hey, listen, you know, I'm out here in the night. Criminals know I exist. They don't know where I'm coming, but they know I'm out here. You know what I mean? So he has that mysterious element about him in being Batman, because he can show up anywhere at any given time. So if you're doing some crazy shit, just might so happen that Batman might run up on you. He might run up on you. And I like the way that was played out. I like the way it was played out in the direction that they took him in. You know, he's more, I don't want to say he's not a celebrity, but he shows his face more. You know, he shows his face more in this movie. Like I said, he's around cops. He's around cops like, oh, I'm a part of the force. You know what I mean? And it's been played, and it plays off that detective element where he's not just showing up to the crime. He's not just putting away bad guys. He's showing up to the scene of crime. He's analyzing things. He's looking at stuff. You know, he's taking in all the information, and he's looking at things, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle. Trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I like that element, because we haven't seen that element in any of the Batman films. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. We get a little bit of it in the Tim Burton movies, and we get a little bit of it in the Christopher Nolan movies, but in this one, we get more of it in this one, where, you know, he's hands-on. Don't get me wrong. He's hands-on, but he's more detective-y, if that's even a word. It ain't even a word. But he's more of a detective in this movie, along with Jim Gordon. And like I said, I like the way they play that out. You know, Catwoman is in this movie as well, which is played by Zoe Kravitz. And going back to Batman, Robert Pattinson plays a good Batman. And because I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on the plot, I'm just gonna kind of jump into the meat of it. Robert Pattinson plays a good Batman. He plays a good Batman. I'm gonna get to that. He plays a good Batman, and I like the way he did it. I like the way he did Batman. And one thing I love, that I'm glad he made a conscious choice about this, a conscious choice as an actor doing this. He didn't give him that heavy, growly voice that Christian Bale did. Now, I told y'all in the last videos, I love what Christian Bale did with Bruce Wayne and Batman by developing him and building him up to be a full-fledged character by the time we get to the third movie. But that Batman voice is the fucking worst. That shit is the worst. I don't know what made him choose to do that. Just it's the worst. It's the worst Batman voice in the world. The worst shit in the world. Comparing that to Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton did it, but he didn't over exaggerate that shit. And same thing with Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson did a more of a lower tone, but he didn't over exaggerate it. And I love the fact that he did that. And if I gotta complain about anything that Christian Bale did with his Batman, was that fucking voice. That shit was killing me. But I love what Robert Pattinson did with the character of Batman, and not just his voice, the way he moved. Robert Pattinson moved. He moved slow, but it was thought out. It was thought out. It was strategic. You know what I mean? Just the way he moved. When he ran up on scenes, but when he came on the scene, he took his time to establish his presence, pretty much, you know, because Batman is this intimidating, scary figure. And if I'm doing something and if I'm robbing a store and I just see this dude in a bat suit just walking to me very slowly, I'll probably shit my pants. At first, I'll probably be like, what the hell's going on? But then think about it like, yo, who's this crazy dude coming at me in this bat suit, and he's walking like he doesn't have a care in the world. Not even that he has a care in the world, but he's walking like he has all the time in the world. So I like the fact that Robert Pattinson did that. Now, I don't know if that was a choice on Robert Pattinson or if that was a choice on the direction of what Matt Reeves wanted to do with the character. But whoever made that decision on Batman, I like the fact that they put that element in there where he was very slow and deliberate about what he was doing. You know, he took his time, he looked around, he examined stuff, you know, and I think that went into the fact of him being that detective. That, okay, we can't have him moving fast and doing all this. The only time he moved fast was when he was whooping ass, which was awesome too. You know what I mean? But other than that, I liked how Robert Pattinson created that element of Batman. You know, Zoe Kravitz plays Selena Kyle, or Catwoman. Selena Kyle / Catwoman. And y'all know I complained. Y'all know I did a little complaint about Anne Hathaway being Catwoman, which I feel like she just didn't fit the role. You know, they used her, but she didn't fit the role of Catwoman to me. Zoe Kravitz played a more believable Catwoman. You know what I mean? I'm not comparing her to Michelle Pfeiffer, because Michelle Pfeiffer was her own beast. She was her own beast in Batman Returns. Even though y'all know how I shitted on that one, but she was, to me, she was the best part of the movie, and she was her own version of Catwoman. Same thing with Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz wasn't trying to create what Michelle Pfeiffer did, and she wasn't trying to create what Anne Hathaway did, and she wasn't doing what Halle Berry did. Even though Halle Berry was a different Catwoman, she was Patience Phillips in that movie. But she created her own lane, and she was believable. Zoe Kravitz was believable as Catwoman. Like, I could see Zoe Kravitz doing what she did in the movie, but then also moonlighting as Catwoman or a cat burglar. And another thing too, they didn't really, in this one, they didn't really play on her too much on being cat-like. You know, she had a couple of the features. You know, she was slim, she walked real easy. She had the little ski mask on her head with the little cat ears or whatever. You know, and they did a little element with her having cats, but it wasn't played on a lot, which is fine, which is cool. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining the fact that they didn't use the cat element in this film with her being Catwoman, but she was a more believable Catwoman in this film, and I enjoyed that. Colin Farrell, he plays the Penguin, and this is the version of the Penguin that they should have had in Batman Returns. He was more of that gangster type figure. And this is what I was talking about with Batman Returns. Instead of him being that monster mutant creature that they had in Batman Returns, but like I said, that was some Tim Burton shit. Instead of him being that mutant creature, he was a regular dude who had his own little quirks. He had his own little quirks, but he was more realistic. He was more of a realistic, shelled out character, and he was more of a gangster. I was more intimidated by this version of the Penguin than I was with Danny DeVito's version. And I think Colin Farrell did a good job. He didn't. Oh, fucking spoilers. He didn't have a lot of burn in the film, but he played his part. He played his part for what it's worth. He played his part for what it's worth. He's kind of like the tier 2 criminal. He's not the top, but he's in between. He's in the middle. He's like the, what they call him. He's not the enforcer. He's like the, I want to say he's the middleman. He's like a middleman criminal. You know what I mean? And then he's under what's the guy named? Carmine Falcone, which is played by John Turturro. And I like John Turturro as an actor. And he did well in this movie as well. And you had the Riddler in this movie. And this Riddler, I like these realistic interpretations of these characters. You know what I mean? Because you really can't compare it to Batman Forever, because Batman Forever, and Jim Carrey did his damn thing. Jim Carrey was being who Jim Carrey was at that time in 94 and 95. Jim Carrey was the perfect Riddler based on like how it was in the TV show, because Riddler was like this kind of clowny, quirky character, and Jim Carrey kind of followed that same direction of being that clowny, quirky character who had these riddles. But he was more of what Jim Carrey was doing at that time when Batman Forever came out. In this version, Riddler is psychotic, but once again, he's strategic. He's strategic in what he's doing. He's purposeful. And I see a common denominator with a lot of these villains in these Batman movies, especially from the Dark Knight trilogy to this one, that a lot of these villains want to rid the city of this organized crime element. So it kind of makes me think, like, are these villains really villains? Or in a way, are they kind of protagonists? Because they want to get rid of the corruption, the lies, the deceit, and all the bullshit that's going on in the city, but they doing it in a way where it's villainous. You know, just like with Riddler. In this movie, Riddler is knocking, he's killing people, but he's doing it for a purpose. He's not doing it just to, get shits and giggles, just for shits and giggles. He's doing it with an underlying purpose. Kind of like what Bane was doing, even though they was doing it in a way where, okay, well, we want to get rid of this corrupt city. We want to get rid of all the ills and all the bullshit that's going on. But it's the execution, and it's kind of like that too with Batman Begins. Ra's al Ghul's mission was to say, hey, listen, we're gonna knock this city out of the box because it's so corrupt and it's so greedy that it's not doing no service to anybody. You know what I mean? That was the purpose of the League of Shadows, to eradicate civilizations that just couldn't take care of themselves no more and was just, being reckless. And they go in, they destroy them, and then they restart them. So with Riddler, I get what Riddler was trying to do in this movie, but he was doing it in a way where, okay, he's killing the mayor, he's killing the police commissioner, and it's kind of go that same thing with Commissioner Gordon. Does he become commissioner in this movie? I don't think he becomes commissioner in this movie. He's just he's a high ranking cop in this movie, but he's got ties to Batman. But going back to what Riddler is doing, Riddler is doing it in a way where he wants to end all the bullshit going on in the city, but he's just doing it in a way that's very villainous and very crime oriented. You know what I mean? But is he really a villain? And I say that with a lot of these villains, except for Joker in the Dark Knight. Joker was just fucking crazy. He was just crazy, and he was just villainous. He was just doing shit just to be doing shit, but he was calculated with it too. So, in regards to Batman Begins, and then The Dark Knight Rises, and then what's going on with this version of Batman, are these villains really villains? Are they really villains? Because they're doing a service to the people. But, you know, it's just the execution. You know what I mean? And in a lot of ways, does it make them different from Batman? You know, Batman is a vigilante fighting crime. And in a lot of ways, these villains are fighting crime as well, but they're doing it, you know, for a better cause. Kind of like what Batman is doing. Batman is fighting crime for a better cause. So it's kind of like, yo, you got Batman going against Riddler or Batman going against Bane, and they kind of want the same. Well, I don't want to say they want the same. Well, they kind of do want the same thing. If you really think about it, they kind of do want the same thing. They want peace, but it's just, like I said, it's the intent. You know, it's the intent, and it's the execution of what they're doing. But with the Riddler, Paul Dano, he plays the Riddler, and oh god, I can't remember the other movie he was in. It's a comedy that he was in, and I liked him in that movie. He played like a nerd in that movie. But he played in another movie too. It was another movie that he played in that I liked, and I liked his performance in that movie as well. But I like the way he plays Riddler. I like the way he plays Riddler, because he's like, I like calculated villains, man. I like calculated villains, you know. Would I put him on my top villain list? Nah, I wouldn't put him on my top villain list. But I like calculated villains that they just not doing shit just to be doing shit. You know what I mean? And I guess a lot of people are like, well, did you like Joker? I fucking love Joker. I love Joker in all these Batman movies. I love Joker in The Dark Knight, but I also loved Joker in the '89 Batman. You know what I mean? So, but I like calculated villains, man. That's just my thing. And I liked what Riddler's character did in this movie as well. And I know I probably don't do a lot of shit out there. Well, I didn't throw a lot of shit out there. I didn't throw a lot of stuff out there. Y'all still can go check out the movie. But I like the fact that a lot of these comic book movies are getting smart. They're getting smart, but I like the fact that, you know, they're not taking a comedic or stupid approach, or they're taking more seriously. You know what I mean? And, you know, I like this version of Batman. I like this version of the Batman. I like what Matt Reeves did. I like the performances. You know what I mean? You had, like I said, you had Robert Pattinson playing Batman, Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman, Paul Dano playing the Riddler. You had what's my man name? Jeffrey Wright. He plays Jim Gordon, and I like Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is another one of those actors who could transform into anything. He's another one of them great actors, and I think he's very underrated too. Jeffrey Wright is a very underrated actor. You know, watching him do what he did with Jim Gordon, and he's had so many roles where he's played different roles, and he's just transformed into the role. One of the most, and this is what made me really take notice to this dude, when he played Peoples Hernandez in Shaft back in 2000. Peoples Hernandez, he's another one of my favorite villains. Not really the most calculated villain, but he was just fucking funny in that movie, man. He was funny in that movie, and I love what Jeffrey Wright did in that movie. But Jeffrey Wright is one of those actors, just like Christian Bale, just like Tom Hardy. He can transform into characters like flawlessly, and I love the fact how I just love Jeffrey Wright. I love him as an actor. And I like what he did with Jim Gordon. He's kind of like Batman. He's got that slow, methodical way about him in being detective and being a detective and being on the scene and observing everything that's going on around him. But I like the fact that I like what Jeffrey Wright did with the character. I think that's about it. And like I said, Colin Farrell, he played the Penguin, and like I said, he played the Penguin in a way that I wanted to see in Batman Returns. You know what I mean? So I definitely believe there's going to be more of these. You know what I mean? And hell, let me keep my mouth shut. Let me zip it up and throw it away. But I know there's definitely going to be more of these, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see more because the first one you get a gist of what's going on, and you get a little bit of backstory. You get a little bit of where they're going to take this, what direction they're going to take the story in now. And with this one, I like where it's going. I ain't gonna say I like where it's going. I like where it started. Let me put it to you like that. I like where it started. It gave Robert Pattinson's Batman a feel of us getting to know him. You getting to know Robert Pattinson as Batman now. I like what they did with Gotham City. Gotham City has its own feel, kind of like what it felt like to me in '89's Batman. You know what I mean? In the Dark Knight trilogy, I didn't really get a actual feeling from the city, but in this one, I get a feeling from this city. It's got that gritty gray tone. It's got that gritty grayness that '89 Batman had. It's cold. It's rainy. It's seems like they don't ever have no sunny days in this city. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that Gotham City is a character in this movie. And Gotham City is a character throughout all the movies, but to me it has more of a character now like it did in '89. So I like what they introduced us to. Let me put it. I like what Matt Reeves introduced us to in this film. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to the next one. And I want to see, what kind of quirks and what kind of story we're gonna get out of this one. I like the story in this one. You know what I mean? It's a little slow pace, and it's a long movie. It's almost a 3-hour movie. But with it being a 3-hour movie, I can't really say that I got bored. You know, I didn't really get too bored in the movie. Like, oh God, I wish this shit would hurry up and come to an end. I didn't get bored with this movie, and I watched it twice. You know, and usually with long movies like this, I'm not really gonna watch a long movie unless I'm interested in it or unless it keeps my attention. And it kept my attention. For it to be, I think it's like 2 hours and 50 minutes. For it to be this long and for it to keep my attention, I give it kudos to that. I give kudos to movies that are long, but they keep my attention. It didn't drag on. It kept feeding me something as the time kept going on. Could it been a little bit shorter? Probably. I think they probably maybe could have shaved maybe about a half hour off the movie. You know what I mean? I think the story could have been told in about 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? But with it being 3 hours, it still kept my attention. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna zonk it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna zonk it. I'm not gonna give it no issues, and I'm not gonna give it no problems. You know what I mean? Oh man. And I just thought about it because I didn't give God, these Batman movies, man, so many different titles. I didn't give The Dark Knight Rises a scale. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna combine both of these movies in a scale because I didn't give the other one a scale. So just being like this, if you watch my Batman these titles, man. If you watch The Dark Knight Rises, the last video of The Dark Knight Rises, I give that a 4 thumbs up. With this one, I give it would I give it 4 thumbs up or would I give it 3? I'm gonna do 3.5. I'm gonna do 3.5 because it's just starting out and I want to see where they take it. But as far as being a overall enjoyable movie, because like I said, I watched it twice. And for me to sit down and watch this movie twice, it had to catch my attention and it had to grab me and suck me in. So I give it 3.5. I give it 3.5 stars. I give it 3.5 thumbs up. It's the first time I did a half thumbs up. I give it a 3.5 thumbs up because of, like I said, I love the acting. I love what Matt Reeves did with the story. It's a good story. I like the story as well. And like I said, I want to see more. I want to see more, and I want to see where it goes. And hopefully hopefully the studio will greenlight another one. You know what I mean? I guess based on how the numbers and how people take to this movie, I guess it depends on, whether they get greenlit or not. But it's a Batman movie, so usually Batman movies get at least one sequel. So we get a sequel to this, then I'll be golden with a sequel, because I want to see what they do with the story. All right. So like, comment, subscribe. Got a couple more. Got a few more videos to go. Well, not a few. No. Actually, no. I got so used to saying I got so many different Batman videos to go that I'm used to saying it now. We are finally finished. With my my Batman assessments. I want to do a little retrospect, which I probably will do, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. I might not. But if I do it, y'all see the video on my page. So I want to say look out for it, but look out for it, because I'm probably gonna end up doing a little Batman retrospect. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy to be done with all of these movies, man, because I've been trying to get these things done for ever and a day, and I'm finally happy to get through all of these movies, and now I can move on to some other stuff. All right. So, like I said before, like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, Mr. Mar Sharp. This is Short Man Filmworks, and I will see y'all on the next video. Y'all take care and y'all have a good night.